Morning, everybody. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late here, but I was talking to my dad. So, good morning. Good morning. It sure feels good when, good morning. Yeah, the Bible says when you are deep in prayer and you are fasting, don't let it be made known. I'm not fasting right now, but that you should get up, wash yourself, prepare for the day, look good. And my grandmother, my Oma, she always was, get up, make your bed, prepare yourself, get cleaned up, look good. Because when you're in really sad situations or in turmoil, when you are dressed and prepared properly, or even when you're trying to conduct your everyday duties in life, when you're cleaned up and, you put your best foot forward, you dress, then you can handle the tasks of the day in a more thoughtful way. I would say a more mature way. That if, that's just the way I was taught. So, and then of course the Bible says, get up, get ready, gird yourself, so here I am. I got up this morning after yesterday and girded myself, got ready for the day. And, it was definitely really a day of turmoil. And so I wanted to talk about what happened yesterday and how that affects our pursuit for justice for Richard and finding Richard. Because a lot happened yesterday, not just in DC. So hi, everybody. I was just telling everybody that a lot happened yesterday, and I got up this morning and I thought, okay, gird yourself, get ready, do your hair, do your makeup, dress yourself, be ready for the day, right? Because there's so much sadness about what happened yesterday. So, and how that affects our pursuit to find our son and also to rescind his unjust, unlawful Article 15 that was used as a weapon against him to destroy him by his leadership. So, yesterday we went to DC on a bus, 5 of us, to pass out the prayer cards, to talk to people about Richard's situation, and to get public support. And it was very interesting because we met people from El Paso there that had heard about Richard and that had a total false narrative of what happened. So we had to straighten that out, and they couldn't believe it. So there is a false narrative going around about Richard, and that is a war tactic, a battle tactic to discredit your enemy so that nobody cares about them when they fall, that nobody will help them up. And when they stumble, no one will try to catch them. So we really saw that yesterday because we were a very jovial group on the bus, very kind. And we were going to, and I even did a live stream on the bus, and we were going to DC to show support really to Vice President Pence. And I even in my mind, was there for Joe Biden. Because if I was Joe Biden, no way would I let this election stand without being totally investigated so that the 80 million people that voted for President Trump would be satisfied, because those 80 million people would then recognize me as a legitimate president of the United States. So there is so much legitimate accusations from many states. I mean, the election was stopped in the middle, in the evening, the middle of the, and then ballots were counted and everything. Never in my lifetime was an election stopped, the counting. So if I was Joe Biden, I would say we need a complete audit. We need the signatures all verified so that there is no question in the American's mind that I am the legitimate president of the United States. I think that is very important. But yet he's not doing that. And Congress is not doing that. And they seem to not care that 80 million plus people, I think it's more like 100 million, have questions and doubts about the legitimacy of this election. I think, wow, really? It is so important to make sure that the American people trust our elections. And I know several of my Democrat friends don't trust this election. So they don't even respect their candidate. They don't even respect their own candidate. So so this is why I had no hesitation at all to go to DC to spread the prayer candles for Richard and support this action, because I thought the action, all of Team Find Richard Halliday, thought that this action, this audit of the electors to be sent back to make sure that this is a legitimate election, would help both President Trump and Joe Biden in the future. It was a win-win for me. It was a win-win. So I, of course, am a President Trump supporter for the mere fact that it's so obvious to me that Joe Biden cannot lead properly, and that the last 4 years was one coup attempt after another, because our economy was doing so well. Small businesses were doing so well. And I think the major red pill, I guess you would call it, for me was when Catherine Austin Fitts, I don't know if any of you know her, but I was listening to a podcast, and she said that the burnings of all the towns were the exact areas where President Trump had opened up opportunity zones for the inner city people. And they were opening up small businesses and everything, and they were burned down. And they were broken into, and they were stolen from during these riots that the police never responded to, and that they called peaceful protests. And she overlapped the map of those burnings, of those riots over the opportunity zones in the United States, in the inner cities, and they matched perfectly. That was like, for me, oh my gosh, this is organized. This is organized. Who is organizing this? So I really feel that to have a fair election, to have free press and conversation and civil conversations, we can differ in opinions, but to have that open for discussion and to read is really important. That's how I always thought. But now I've seen a lot of my podcasters that I listen to, my President Trump is still the president of the United States. I'm a citizen of the United States, has been censored, kicked off of forums to listen to. So I just don't even feel that way anymore. If there are bots that come on here to attack, find Richard Halliday, then I just delete them. Sorry. Because I don't know who's friend or foe, and I don't know who's really a robot or who's a paid infiltrator. And yesterday was a confirmation of that for me, because it was very obvious when we got there that people were there for support. They were not there really to, I guess they were protesting the legitimacy of the election. But I really feel like they were there to support President Trump and Vice President Pence. That's the feeling that I got because of the prayers, because of the songs, because of the, the signs. There was a couple of negative signs there that, I wouldn't want my son to carry. But for the most part, there were handicapped people there. There were families there with babies. There was many older people. There were many Christian families, and there were many Koreans because my son-in-law is Korean. So we walked with the Korean group for a little bit. And I'll explain that too. There were many Chinese people that were collecting names to stop the CCP, to end the CCP. Okay, so we signed those to end the CCP. If you don't know what the CCP is, that's the Chinese Communist Party that own most of Hollywood, own our banking, own our media broadcasting, own many of our buildings in our cities. So it is a huge issue, and that's why the Chinese were coming out in droves. They've lived in tyranny. They don't want to be in tyranny, and that they see, we don't make anything in the United States, really, not too much. And most of it, we don't even make our own antibiotics. We don't even make our own vitamin C. All of it's made in China because it's so much cheaper because of the very, 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 very cheap labor. So, economy is very important to me. Economics is very important to me. Like I explained yesterday, that's one of the reasons why I supported Ron Paul or Perot, Trump. Why? Because economics is very important to me because I love small businesses. So now, we see it's so clear, it's so apparent what is happening. And we were very peaceful. We were very clean. There was no trash. Well, there's no really bathrooms to be used. You had to really walk far to use a bathroom. There were some allowable food trucks, and I was talking to one of the managers of the food truck, and he manages all the food trucks that were there. So all of those food trucks are under one ownership. Interesting. So now I might be wrong, but he was saying our food trucks line up and we don't have to pay any attention to the laws of DC. That's what he said. We don't follow any of the laws of DC. Who gave them the right to do that? I don't understand. It was very interesting. Economics is very important because for 5 little sandwiches with some fries, I had to pay $65. So, and it was worth every penny because I heard what he had to say. I got to talk to him. Yep. That was worth it. And that would be something to look into if you're a podcaster out there or something. The food trucks on Washington, D.C. Mall. So how does this affect yesterday? As we were very jovial and we were marching, we ended up being pretty close to the Japanese Korean people that had these sticks that they use, that they have flags on the sticks and they make noise, and we're walking. And we saw when we were at the White House area, the eclipse, I think ellipse, whatever they call that. And we saw in the middle of Trump's speech, people were leaving to go to the Capitol. They were leaving en masse, right? And we were like, oh, okay. Because of the side that we were on, we saw that. And we were on the side of the Capitol. So we didn't have very far to walk. So when we got over there, they were telling us they were already up there directing. And so I thought, oh, these are just directors, group directors helping us make an impact, getting us together so everyone could see, that I didn't think anything nefarious was going on. Because one man took my bullhorn and asked, can I say the Lord's Prayer with your bullhorn? I was like, yes. So we were praying the Lord's Prayer. People were singing and then chanting. It was really upbeat. And if you look at my videos, you can see I'm very upbeat. I'm not worried about anything. Everybody was, oh, where are you from? And how are you? And I was telling everyone about Richard and passing out the candles. I talked to so many people from all over the place. And, it was very upbeat. We even exchanged numbers. So because we ended up, oh, we live really close to you, So it was really upbeat. And when we went to the Capitol, things were already in place there. Except for you didn't see any police protection of the Capitol, which was weird. There was no police to be found. I thought about that last night. Rob thought about that and mentioned it to me and made me think about it. I was like, you're right. There was really, it was really weird. They let the people in, y'all. They let the people in. Okay. And then when they were getting on top of the patio, there was some confrontation. I saw a few of the little guards, that seemed to be, they look like all women to me, these guards. I might be wrong. Okay. But it didn't seem like anything major. I don't know. I hope that didn't sound sexist or anything. I just want to tell you what I thought to myself, I had the fugitive apprehension team from the sheriff's department come to my house looking for Richard. And these were big, massive, way over 6 feet, decked out people. Police. Guards. They were just amazing. They looked strong. You didn't want to mess with them. I didn't see anything that looked like them protecting our Capitol when they knew that there would be massive amounts of people there. That's why we went there, because we knew there would be massive amounts of people and massive amounts of coverage, and we thought there would be protection. Because all year long, the people that were peaceful protesters or rioters were allowed to do their thing. And so I guess maybe that was the opinion. I don't know. So we've thought that we would be fine, that we would be, not harmed or anything. So when we got to the patio, we were one of the first, because of the way we were standing over at the White House area, the Washington Monument area. And when we walked over, we were one of the first to get there. And they said, come forward, come forward, come forward. So we got pretty close up to the patio. We were really close where that big stand was, where they were saying, come on closer, fill in the gap, fill in the gap. And so, and that makes sense. You're like, oh yeah, fill in the gap and because there's massive people they want to all see. So let's get close. As soon as we were together like that, these little cannons started shooting. And I thought it was like celebratory kind of shots. I didn't even worry about it. Well, it turned out to be pepper spray and tear gas. And I thought, oh, they're trying to get them off of the patio, because some people were up on the patio waving the American flag, nothing. They weren't breaking anything. So all the bad stuff happened in the front. I don't know who was in the front, but there's pictures now, and they've been identified from all the protests this year as Antifa. Were there some Trump supporters in front there? I'm sure, because, they were egging people on. Come on, come on, come on. It was kind of jovial. You didn't feel threatened. Did some people go, oh yeah, okay, come on, we're going to go in there and see this, Was that lady? I don't know all the intention, but I'm just telling you the mood. The mood was not one of fear. The mood was not one of, oh, I'm horrified at those people, what they're doing. Everybody was, like I said, singing and praying and, so that was the mood. So could people be like egged on or, encouraged to go in, things like that. Now, I know that from the person on my bus, I know when they started breaking the windows, the Antifa have been identified as breaking the windows. The Trump supporters were saying, don't break the windows. And when the police started shooting tear gas and pepper spray, they were like, we're not doing anything. Don't do anything, because we're on your side. We support the blue. We don't want to defund the police. We want to support the police. We want a lot of you to be here protecting the Capitol. So then after they shot some tear gas up there that, to get them off the patio, because remember, I'm on this back side or front side of the Capitol, then facing the Washington Monument, then they turned their guns to us and shot tear gas in our group, which we were packed in there. Remember, they kind of egged us on to come forward. So we were packed, and there could have been definitely a stampede. Wow. There could have been a stampede, y'all. But because we had talked to each other, we were praying with each other, we were singing with each other, we already had formed like a friendship in that group with the Koreans, with the Japanese beside us, with the Chinese there, with all, you name it. I'm a German American, all these people, we're all Americans, right? We're all Americans standing there wanting a legitimate election result. Okay? They fired the tear gas in us. And my son-in-law, James, and my other son-in-law, Sam, son-in-law, James was like, close your eyes, put your head way down, cover your mouth, don't breathe, and whatever you do, do not touch your face, do not rub, do not touch, And then Sam kind of, let's huddle together, put our arms around each other. And then this man that was standing next to us said, everybody, let's move together away. Let's stay calm, don't run, because we have people in wheelchairs, we have older people, we have children, stay calm, let's move together. And so we all kind of like huddled like in a football huddle, I mean, massive one, and kind of move slowly away, and there was no stampede. Then we started, people that were kind of got more of it in their eyes. We rinsed their eyes out with water. But yeah, so we were really calm. And I think, it was like they were hoping that we would stampede or really hurt each other by by panicking. But we're not like Captain Park. We don't panic. We acted together. So this leads me to why this is important information when it comes to finding Richard and also rescinding Richard's very unlawful Article 15 that was used to destroy him, was used as a weapon to destroy him. Do you know what happened yesterday? The vice president became a Benedict Arnold. He didn't work for Biden. He didn't work for Trump. Pelosi didn't work for Biden. She didn't work for Trump. She didn't work for the American people. Because if you worked for Biden and if you worked for Trump, you were working for the American people. But they didn't do that. They're working for some foreign ideology, for some foreign infiltrator of our country. Because it was totally legitimate under the Constitution for the vice president to make sure that the electors were legitimate. He could have easily sent back the electors. We could have audited very quickly, in a matter of days, the contested ballots. And Biden, if he won, would be a legitimate, stronger president for the American people. And if Trump won, he would be a stronger, legitimate president for the American people. But Pence didn't do that. He's a Benedict Arnold. He's a traitor. He committed treason yesterday. Pelosi committed treason yesterday. Most of all of our government committed treason yesterday. That means they didn't work for the Constitution. They didn't work for the American people. And we now have to look for they're all scared, you understand? Tyranny has gripped them. What they did to Richard and the army, because Richard was used as a tyrannical example to scare the hell out of any soldier that did not want to follow these unjust, unlawful, unconstitutional shelter-in-place orders. He was used as an example. And it was really a smart move because he had invested $30,000 in Bitcoin. Where is his key to access the Bitcoin? Because now it's worth $70,000, $80,000. I was checking. And, so where is that? It's the Constitution that will help us declare to uphold the Constitution is to declare the Article 15 as unjust. So if no one cares about the Constitution, and they sure didn't care yesterday, and I don't think that the leaders in our army care either, because they're under a tyranny that they will lose everything if they do the right thing. Pence would lose everything if he did the right thing. Pelosi would lose everything if she did the right thing. Same thing with the Senate, same thing with the Congress, same thing with our generals. So if they do right to Richard, it was no big deal to mark him missing. It's a few pennies for them. It's just printed press anyway. I mean, not even a digital, press. So to claim him missing was a little cookie for us, a little crumb. Here is a little crumb for you parents. Now he's missing. Now you can go on your way. But that's why I was focused on the DUI, the DWI charges against Richard, because in the Article 15, they use the counseling slip as 0.04 BAC. That is a Red Bull. It's underage drinking. There's no DUI mentioned, no DWI mentioned, no police record mentioned. It was just underage drinking. A little Red Bull could have caused it. There was no drunkenness mentioned. Okay, it was 0.04, and his allowable limit was 0.00. That's what it states, and I have that on the website. And I was given by a lawyer that's not punitive. Okay, that's not punitive under the UCMJ. So in our meeting with the generals, I mentioned that, and they went a little berserk. They gave me a big file. Oh, yeah, that's punitive. Like, really? You are going to debate that you destroyed Richard, and I should thank my lucky stars that he didn't get 6 years in prison if he would have went court-martial for a 0.04 breathalyzer, underage drinking? So you don't want to dismiss this Article 15 that's unjust because of the underage drinking. You insist that it is punitive and that you needed to take 3 ranks from him, give him 45 days of extra duty in the hot sun, which is fine. I'm not a wimp, but kind of like this where you can't even breathe and you might die of asphyxiation. Who just died of asphyxiation? And become hypoxic. 45 days of restriction. And then you have 50% of your pay taken away for 2 months. Whatever's left over of what you have, they take away 50%. His car, he gave back. He lost his car during the whole thing. For what? So they didn't want to go there with the, just dismiss, rescind that Article 15 just for the underage drinking, which was not punitive. I hold to it that it's not punitive, 0.04. Okay? He says it's punitive. Well, I would love to go to court-martial with that. I would love to. If we had sensible people judging. Okay? So I said, okay, we won't go there. We'll go to the other reason why they gave him the Article 15. Was because he disobeyed a battery commander's order. Captain Park is a West Point grad who absolutely was not taught properly, in my opinion, and panicked because the community had the shelter in place, but the Army didn't at the time. So he put it on his own power to panic, to not think of what would happen, and ordered just his battery to shelter in place the night of March 27th at 9 o'clock at night, after they came back from the field and had spent the day cleaning and organizing all of their equipment. And he did not give the order directly. He gave it to SFC Orona, who then gave it to the platoon sergeants, who then gave it to Richard, supposedly. Because the emails are like, oh, did we really tell Richard I gave the order at 9:00, but what time did Orona give it? What time did the platoon sergeants give it? It is one big fat mess. Okay? One big fat mess. And why at 9:00 at night? Why didn't he give it at formation when they were all rested and listening clearly the next morning, when he was finished with his 4-car pileup? I mean, they were all going to go to sleep anyway. They were all tired from the field and working on their equipment the whole day. I mean, the whole thing stinks to high heaven. Stinks to high heaven. And what that instigated was that others could go out and have a good time, because the general order didn't come out until after the first week in April. Okay? So the other batteries could go out and have a good time, yet Richards couldn't. So then they started passing the hat for the CQ, paying the CQ to cover up them going out and having a good time. You're talking about many average age 20, 21-year-olds. Some of them younger. 4 days ago, 19-year-old found dead in the barracks. All right? So they started doing that. Makes sense. Makes sense that they would do that. I believe that. Because it makes sense. Hey, they're all going out. Why can't we go out? Hey, would you cover me? Come on, I'll give you $20. Well, that became very profitable. And then our sources we have that experienced it told us that fee went up to $80 a pop. Now, maybe it went up to $100. And maybe it's still going on. I don't know. I do know there was a lot of guns in the barracks. I do know that they were bringing in people to have parties in the barracks. So maybe it was like, oh, we have to shelter in place, but there's a party going on in the other battery. We want to go over there. So can I give you some money and you cover me? Don't tell anyone. I'll go over there. Okay, so Richard left the next day to go shoot his weapon that he had picked up, and it has never been shot. And he went all by himself. When you hear about Richard, they'll say, he wasn't, he was kind of a quiet guy, a lone guy, just watching. Well, Richard went into the Army with the best intentions. He went in to be number one in basic training, number one in AIT, 300 plus PT score, 3 AAMs in his first 14 months. It took Rob 5 years to get one. Okay, Rob told you about that. Richard also did Combat Lifesaver during that time. He wanted to go green to gold during that time. He was the unit guidon bearer. Okay? What in the world messed him up? And when I say messed him up, was prevent him from going forward more. And I'm telling you, it's because the leadership is very poorly what do I call it? I think there is some foreign ideology. Foreign ideology. And when I say that, I mean unchristian, unconstitutional, unbiblical, and it has really messed us up. And if you are a stellar soldier, they mess you up because of the racketeering, the bullying, the sexual harassment. And it doesn't seem like our leadership has got control, or maybe they want it to be like that. Because they have a lot of power. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of resources at their command. And it seems like they want it that way. Are they profiting? This is where the subpoenas need to be. These bank accounts. I'm putting my neck out there, y'all. This is really serious stuff. And how in the world, after yesterday, would we have a total treasonous vice president, a Benedict Arnold, when we have a total treasonous Speaker of the House, a female Benedict Arnold? No moral courage at all to protect the Constitution and the people of these United States, to protect the voters of Biden and the voters of Trump. Because they could unify this country by legitimizing this election in the eyes of the people of the United States. And because they are into something, or someone has control of them, and there's foreign ideology everywhere I look. They were shooting tear gas at people praying the Lord's Prayer. Tear gas at me, praying the Lord's Prayer. After we had prayed, we had a bullhorn doing it. And they shot tear gas at us. I don't care who you voted for, but if you agree with this, then you agree with being thrown into the darkest night where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's what you're agreeing to. Because this is going to get very dark and ugly. Very dark and ugly. And what I mean by dark is that nothing will be legitimate. Nothing will be legitimate. Nothing will be transparent. And remember that this earth that was made by God is from a very transparent God. He gave us a transparent atmosphere to see the glory that he made. We're the only known planet to have a transparent atmosphere. When I watched that movie Mars, and the actor, I can't remember his name, but he was sitting in his little station on Mars and he could see the stars, I was like, that's so false. If you're on the surface of Mars, you can't see the stars because Mars does not have a transparent atmosphere. So if you were born on Mars, you don't even know there is other planets and stars and sun and a beautiful Milky Way and a galaxy. You don't know that. We have a transparent maker. He's giving us a medium-sized book of laws. What Congress has given us is buildings upon buildings, huge buildings of laws and regulation to make every one of us a criminal. What God gives us is a medium-sized book that's pretty easy to read, that gives us freedom and transparency and hope and love and guidance and blessings. So this is really going to hurt our effort to find Richard. This is going to hurt so bad because no general's feet will be held to the fire. They will be pulled by strings by a foreign ideology to destroy America. I saw it yesterday. To destroy the world. My hope then is I think God will lead us because they are no hindrance to the power of Christ. And I don't know if God wants us to find Richard. I don't know if God wants us to rescind that Article 15. We are going to try. We've got to start. As far as funds go, we have a start, and we're going to try. But what happened yesterday clearly, transparently showed us that they don't want transparency, and they don't want justice, and they don't care about the American people or the volunteer sons and daughters in the military. They don't care. It was very clear. And it wasn't the allowing the people to come into the Capitol. It was the response to it from the officials. How in the world do you not put porta potties out? How in the world do you not get men like those fugitive apprehension men that came to our house to protect the Capitol when you have that many people? How in the world was the door unlocked that they could just go in? So that's my take. And, I got up, I got cleaned up, I did my hair, I did my makeup, I got dressed. How do you like my frock? I was watching Katherine Jenkins on Saturdays, and she always says, "How do you like my frock?" She always wears beautiful things. And I thought, our hope is not in Pence. Our hope is not in Trump. Our hope is not in Biden or Pelosi. Our hope is not in these people. Our hope is in God, our triune God. And all of these Benedict Arnolds are no hindrance to Christ and his kingdom. And so we're going to move forward. I'm just telling you, it's going to be a hard battle. It would have been so much easier. I think our easy life has come to an end. I've had a very easy life. I think the battle is at hand, whether we want it or not. And we need to choose to get up in the morning, get cleaned up, put on our makeup. Well, if you're a man, you might want to just put on aftershave, shave, and go forward in the faith that we have in God being stronger and making us more than conquerors. Because the stars in their course fought against Sisera. The stars in their course. And that's transparency. And that's my hope. So we will move forward, pray that our lawyers, because we have to have lawyers to do this, are not Benedict Arnolds, that they have moral courage. And this is my biggest decision right now, because people have donated money, and I really want to discern exactly how I spend that and who I give that to, so that we can have success. But that is hard, because we don't know who's friend or foe. Do you think I think the army is friend? No. I don't know who's friend or foe. And lawyers, who's friend or foe? So if you have contact numbers of people that you absolutely know for years that are definitely full of moral courage, because, I have 2 on my list moving forward, but now is your chance. Now is your chance to really help us by giving us connections. Who's a friend? Who can really help us rescind this Article 15 and help us find, pursuing the Article 15 to be rescinded will help us find Richard. You know that. Because the more pressure they have on them to just find him, you see, to just find him, and they're off the hook then. Because this Article 15, when it comes to this unlawful order, is going to implicate many people that are officers that gave unlawful orders. That's why I wanted to go with the underage drinking. Because this other one, there's only 2. This disobeying a battery commander's order is a can of worms. And I wanted to stay away from that. But God doesn't want us to stay away from it. It's going to be a tough battle. He doesn't want us to stay away from it. Lord, give me courage. Give me courage. So please pray. Please contact us, 941-677-0060. If you have any information, and I've been getting some information lately. So please contact us, and I will keep you up to date. Thank you for your long suffering. I know this was a long live stream, but there was a lot to be said. And if you have any questions, I will definitely answer any question. Good morning, Mrs. Halliday. Good morning to you. There isn't enough coverage of Richard being missing. It's such a shame. Oh, yeah, because it's a big can of worms, y'all. Good morning. Yep. Yeah. Yes. You have to read through these comments. People are very aware. Yes, the CCP has its tentacles in our government. Yes. And I think someone has their tentacles in the government of the CCP. Yeah, that it was staged yesterday. Rob says he saw a lot of military tactics being done yesterday. Sending prayers. Thank you so much. We need lots of prayers. God is in control of everything. Keep working for his kingdom. We are continuing to pray. So glad he protected you yesterday, especially during that unlawful and unprovoked tear gassing. Absolutely. God is all powerful. He will give you the strength to keep fighting. Absolutely. Thank you all. God bless you. Please share, and please try to get at least 5 people to like this page. We need to get the numbers up. I want to try to get them up to 5,000. That's my goal, to like, so that because of all the censoring, we can really get the word out about this to rescind. We really need to up our game. That's what we need to do. We need to up our game. And if from yesterday, we can't depend on these leaders. We have to do this. And if I get censored from this, go to McGuffeysOnlineTutor.com. McGuffeysOnlineTutor.com. That's my site. I paid for it. I haven't been there in a while because I've been doing this. So, but we need to up our game. We need to get as many likes, lots of shares, and I need your help to do that. Okay, let's get up to, by the end of this month, 5,000. Let's do it. We can do this. And yeah, just spread the word. Spread the word. Spread the GoFundMe. Spread the prayers. Spread Richard's story, his infographic. Spread that. Let people know the story, because there are people that still think that Richard was gun running on the border. That is not true. He made a U-turn and let them know he was making a U-turn. No charges. They were fearing for their life and took him to the hospital because they thought that he might give them a sickness. And he was a healthy person. And they released him, and there was no charges. That's the truth. So if you need anything to help you fight this battle with me, because this is about all volunteer sons and daughters in our military forces. That's what this is about. We can't let them use Article 15s as a weapon to destroy our children, our soldiers. Okay? God bless you. Let's up our game. Bye-bye. Talk to you later.